Oh hey there! I need to paint a perfect backdrop for my overhead shots, but I am stumped because I can't figure out which texture would be the best. So I'm going to keep painting until I find the texture that works for me. You will find all the products used along with this Putty Blade mentioned in the description. I don't want this tabletop to have a uniform base, which is why I'm pouring colors onto the table directly and painting it every which way. The sponge will help bring out a different texture. Depending on the texture, I will also keep switching between a dry and a wet sponge. You will notice that I have used water sparingly. It is because I need the foundation to be strong for the upcoming layers, but moreover for the multiple change of textures this tabletop is going to go through. Once I got both the layers of my foundation in place, I mixed the colors with a generous amount of water. I kept adding color to the palette without blending it completely, so I could have multiple tints and shades of the same color. I went back and forth between the brush and a dry sponge to help blend the colors to my liking. With a soaking brush, I splattered, rolled, and spread the paint all around the tabletop. If your paint is watered down, and if you're using a brush or a toothbrush to create splatters, you may end up with a few odd or large drops like I did. But with a texture like this, it is almost always easy to blend it in. The first texture has 3 different layers. Because you have a strong base which was then reinforced with a textured base, the upper layer can be translucent, meaning watered down. All you have to do then is blend the final layer in the way most appealing to you. You will notice here how diluted my paint is. To create a marble-like effect, I found it is necessary to have this consistency. You can see the final outcome of the first texture in the background as I'm prepping for the next one. You will see why I'm using the back of the plate in a bit. I have taken 3 colors and blended them, but not completely. For this technique, you can use a metal ruler or a cake knife. This is a fairly simple technique since I already got the base in place. The second texture had a good coverage, meaning the paint wasn't watered down, which is why I didn't have to sand the table like I'm doing now. Lightly wet sanding with a 150 grit paper will allow you to get just a fine layer of the top without damaging the foundation. In this process, I took off some color of the top layer. I decided not to wipe it down but to blend it back into the table. This is a fun technique, and I started by watering down the colors more than before. After dribbling the color onto the table, I just used the Putty Blade to spread it every which way. Add the color as needed for desired effect. For instance, I didn't want the table to be too dark, so I started with the lighter shades and added the darks only where needed. The important thing is to wait for each layer to dry. Since the color is watered down, it barely takes a minute or two. Just before the last layer of paint, I sprayed some water and immediately pulled it off with the Putty Blade. This created a crater-like effect, which was perfect to conclude the painting. Before applying a sealant on the tabletop, wet sand the surface with a 1000 grit paper. For this surface, I am using a matte finish sealant by Asian Paints called Aquadur. It is a water-based PU which will help the surface last longer and repel water. Two thin coats of sealant will take around 15 minutes to dry out completely. And that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It always means a lot when you do. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.